William and I were the couple everyone in our circle envied. He was pure and self-disciplined, accomplished at a young age, the perfect boyfriend. But as our wedding day approached, William told me, "I don't want to miss out on the person I love." He left me and quickly married a lively, adorable younger woman from our school. I left quietly. 3 years later, I saw William again at a gathering in the capital. He no longer looked like the handsome young heir. "Can we talk?" he asked. I smiled lightly. "No, my husband's waiting for me." I heard Chloe's back. I remember, didn't Chloe break up with him back then? Now William's in charge of the family business. I wonder if Chloe regrets it. As I walked into the banquet hall, I overheard some people discussing me and William's breakup. This was the first time, 3 years later, that I heard the truth about our split. It hit me like a bolt out of the blue, just like 3 years ago when he suddenly said, "Chloe, let's break up." He said, "You only live once. I don't want to miss out on the person I love. And besides, you're too dull and boring." At the time, I thought it was just a whim, but the next day, he posted a photo of his wedding ring on Instagram. The caption read, "People need to live for themselves once in their lives." That's when I realized he wasn't asking me, he was informing me of his decision. After a period of feeling down, I quietly left the country to study abroad. But I never expected that he would tell others I was the one who broke up with him. He kept all the good reputation, while I became the bad woman who was greedy and ungrateful. Isn't that Chloe? Old friends spotted me and came over. One of them asked, "Why are you so late?" I answered, "I was held up by something." They looked me over and sighed. "You're getting more and more beautiful, your skin's so smooth it looks like you could squeeze water out of it. Yeah, you're a violinist now, your aura's completely different. She's an artist now, there's no comparison with us debutantes." Noticing some of the friends weren't exactly sincere, I smiled faintly and changed the topic. After chatting for a while, someone said, "William's here." If 3 years ago, William was the center of attention in the crowd, now, he looked tired and weary. A friend whispered, although William's now in charge of his family's company, he has a troublesome woman at home. I was about to ask when William looked over. Our eyes met, and he froze for a moment before slowly walking toward me. "It's been a long time." I nodded distantly, "Long time no see." Our friends, being sharp, cleared the space for us. This was the first time we had met after the breakup, 3 years later. I never imagined it would happen at such a gathering. William spoke first, "You look like you're doing well." "Yeah, I'm doing okay. I heard you're having a concert soon. Congratulations, you've realized your dream." His tone was casual, as if we were just old friends chatting about the weather. I smiled faintly, "Thank you." The atmosphere grew quiet, and for a moment, it became awkward. William broke the silence first. "I didn't handle things well back then. I shouldn't have been so willful." I said lightly, "It's all in the past." William seemed like he wanted to say more when a figure rushed toward him, throwing herself into his arms from behind. Surprise! William pressed his lips together tightly and pulled her away from behind him. She quickly looped her arm through his and reached out her hand toward me. "Hello, I'm William's wife, Emily." This wasn't the first time I had met Emily. 3 years ago, I had seen her a few times at William's company. She was a cute girl. William had mentioned her once, saying they had a great rapport. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but looking back, the signs had always been there. Out of politeness, I shook her hand lightly. "You guys talk. I'll excuse myself." I went to the restroom and, after tidying up, found an unread message on my phone, "If you don't come out, I'm coming in to get you." I replied, "Can I have another 10 minutes? A quick reply came, "Sure, but you owe me tonight." After leaving the restroom, I passed by a lounge. The door was slightly ajar, and without thinking, I glanced inside, only to see William scolding Emily with a grim face. "This is not the place for you to make a scene. Go home now, I have things to take care of." Emily was crying, looking pitiful. "What's so important? You just heard Chloe's back and now you want to rekindle your old flame with her? I followed you right after I graduated, and you're treating me like this?" William looked exhausted. "I told you, there's nothing between me and her. Why don't you believe me?" Emily wouldn't let it go. "You've known her for nearly 20 years. How can I believe you? Yeah. William and I had been childhood sweethearts for nearly 20 years, but in the end, his words still couldn't beat his one statement: I don't want to miss out on the person I love. Emily knew exactly how he had fallen out of love with me, so how could she trust him to be with me? But none of that mattered anymore. Back in the banquet hall, my friends pulled me into conversation. In the middle of it, William came in, bringing Emily with him. In the end, he couldn't bear to send away the one he loved. They sat down across from me. The conversation between the friends became awkward, and they began talking in half-hearted fragments. Suddenly, Emily pointed at my neck and gasped, "Did you hurt your neck?" I instinctively covered my neck and awkwardly said, "No, it's not injured." Emily, disregarding my discomfort, walked over and tried to pry my hand away to examine my neck. How could it be uninjured if it's red? I had no defense, and she removed my hand, revealing a mark just below my collarbone. It was clearly a mark from something else. Emily shot a meaningful look at William. I quickly fixed my collar, my expression displeased. The adults in the room all shot her disapproving glances, but Emily seemed completely unaware of her rudeness. She tentatively asked, "You've been single for so many years after breaking up with William, have you gotten a boyfriend?" Before I could respond, William lowly scolded, "If you keep being so rude, I'll have someone send you home." Emily, looking aggrieved, said, "I'm just trying to show concern for your friend, no malice intended." William's face turned pale with anger. "Shut up." He seemed like he wanted to apologize, but I stood up first. "I've got something to do. I'll be leaving now." I had just walked up to my car when someone pulled me into an embrace. The deep, magnetic voice of a man whispered in my ear, "You're 1 minute late." I couldn't help but laugh. "Thomas, you're too controlling. I'm generous enough to let you meet your ex." I was momentarily speechless. "Come to my place tonight?" I nodded. Just as we were walking, Thomas suddenly stopped, grabbed my chin, and kissed me. After the kiss, I glared at him. Thomas, seemingly in a good mood, asked, "What?" He hugged me into the car, and just before closing the door, glanced toward the banquet hall with a small smirk. I looked in the direction he was gazing at but saw nothing. "What are you looking at?" "Nothing, this place is nice." I didn't suspect anything. "It is nice here." The next day, my friend Frida called. After catching up, she suddenly shifted the topic. "I heard William and Emily had a huge argument last night. William even mentioned divorce. Even though it was said that you broke up with him, William got his marriage certificate the day after. He's not exactly a good guy." I said, "It wasn't me who broke up with him back then." "What?" I told her what William had said, and after hearing it, Frida ground her teeth in anger. "That scumbag has been slandering you all these years. I can't stand it. I'll go clear your name right now." "It's fine, it's all in the past." Perhaps it was because I had talked with Frida for too long that I suddenly remembered the night William had broken up with me. I had made a table full of dishes he loved. He didn't come home until 11 p.m. When he walked in, he didn't even glance at the dinner table and headed straight for the study. I called out to him, "How about eating first, then you can get back to your work?" He replied, "I've already eaten." But that day was our anniversary. He had promised in the morning that he would come home to have dinner with me. Before I could say anything else, William got a phone call and was about to leave. I stopped him. "Today is our anniversary." He stared at me for a long time, so long that I thought he might feel guilty. But then he suddenly spoke. "Chloe, maybe it's better if we just end it." I stood there, stunned, and after a long pause, I asked him why. He said, "You're too boring and rigid. We've known each other since childhood, we're too familiar with each other. You only know how to read and play the violin. You don't have any other hobbies. You're just too dull. I don't want to spend my life with a wooden person." That night, he left and never came back. I sat alone for the rest of the night, still hoping that maybe he was just in a bad mood when he said all those things. But I was wrong. After the breakup, I fell into a deep depression for a long time. My parents, worried that I might spiral, decided to send me abroad to continue my studies and take my mind off things. Even after leaving, I didn't immediately get over the relationship. I often went to bars to drown my sorrows. That was when Thomas appeared. He found me completely drunk and took me back to his place, staying up all night to take care of me. The next morning, when I woke up, I thought I had slept with him and felt terribly ashamed. But he calmly said, "I'm not the kind of guy who takes advantage of someone when they're vulnerable." When he found out that my school was near his office, Thomas would often pick me up and take me out for meals. One thing led to another, and we became friends. It wasn't until 6 months ago, when I passed my violin exam, that things changed. I invited him to dinner and, on the way back to my school, he suddenly asked seriously, "I've been chasing you for so long, don't you think it's time to give me an answer?" Looking at this man, so capable and charming in every way, I foolishly agreed without thinking. The day William asked to meet, I was trying on a wedding dress for a friend. I gave him the address of the bridal shop. By the time he arrived, I had already changed into my regular clothes. He suggested we sit across the street for a while. I replied, "Let's sit here." If Thomas knew I was meeting William alone, it would cause trouble. As I sat down on the sofa, I felt a sudden sharp pain in my thigh, like an electric shock. Thomas had bitten me quite hard, and the aftermath was intense. I grabbed a soft pillow to cushion myself and asked him, "Do you need to meet just to tell me something?" William pulled out a jewelry box and said, "This belongs to you. It's time to return it to its rightful owner." I opened it, and inside was the engagement ring he had given me years ago. I looked at him coldly and asked, "What does this mean?" "This is your ring, I have no right to keep it. Anyone who breaks up would not keep the engagement ring. William was just here to rub salt in the wound." I was furious, so I grabbed a glass from the table and took a sip of water. I don't know if I drank too quickly or what, but I choked and started coughing violently. William reached out to help, but a large hand beat him to it, gently patting my back. "Don't worry about it. My girlfriend just choked." William furrowed his brows. "She hasn't eaten anything, how could she choke?" "She had breakfast, a fishbone. It got stuck for 20 minutes, but she got it out." William looked confused at first, then his handsome face tightened, his clenched fist bulging with veins, his eyes flickering with barely contained rage. The two men stared at each other, neither one backing down. I don't know how long it took, but I finally calmed down and said to William, "You can keep it if you want, or throw it away, whatever." After leaving the bridal shop, I grabbed Thomas's hand. "Don't be mad, I didn't know he would bring that over." Thomas clenched his jaw. "You met him in private? But this is your turf, Thomas. I'm over him. We're in the past now, and it'll never happen again." Though Thomas still looked serious, the slight curve at the corner of his mouth betrayed him. I linked my arm with his. "I saved you a good seat for tomorrow's performance." "Now that's more like it." On the day of the performance, William showed up. From across the crowd, I saw him being led to the seat I had reserved for Thomas. Maybe it was just my imagination, but I could have sworn I saw William give Thomas a provocative smile. Thomas didn't acknowledge him and kept his gaze fixed on the backstage. I called my assistant over and gave a few instructions. After she left, someone walked over to Thomas, whispered something to him, and then led him upstairs to the best private box. When I looked back at William, his smug face had turned dark. But I didn't care. After the performance, I went backstage to wait for Thomas. To my surprise, it wasn't Thomas who came, but William. He held a bouquet of flowers. "Chloe, you look really beautiful today." I didn't take them. "Thank you, but I won't be accepting the flowers, to avoid any unnecessary misunderstandings." "Is it because you're afraid he'll misunderstand?" "Yes." "You've changed," he said. "You're not like this before." "No, I've always been like this." After we got together, I kept a distance from all other men, never letting him misunderstand. It seemed like something clicked in his mind, and his thin lips tightened. "So, now you want to keep your distance from me?" "Yes." There was a flash of pain in his eyes, but it quickly disappeared. "I came to tell you that in a couple of days, there's a college reunion. Everyone hopes you can come." I nodded. "I'll be there." I had good relationships with my college friends, and I didn't want to miss the chance to meet them just because of William. After sending William off, Thomas immediately walked in. His face was expressionless, so I couldn't tell if he was angry or not. I told him about William's visit. Thomas remained emotionless. You're going? Yes, it's been a long time since I've seen them. He nodded indifferently, but the smug look he tried to hide only made me laugh. I took his hand. I want you to come with me. This trip back was to prepare for the engagement and wedding, and it was the perfect time to introduce Thomas to my friends. That way, any rumors about me would be shut down. The day of the reunion, Thomas had cleared his schedule to be with me. Just as we were about to leave, I received a call from Frida. Chloe, I just got the notice. We can't bring partners today. I asked around, and they said William is the one organizing it, and he's the one who made the no partner rule. That's just outrageous. Who doesn't bring a partner every year? Maybe he doesn't want his wife there, so he's pulling this stunt. Frida and the others thought William was doing this to keep his wife from attending. But we both knew he was targeting Thomas. I looked at Thomas. Thomas curled his lips, and a cold, dark light flickered in his eyes. I'll see what kind of trouble he can stir up. Thomas made a few phone calls, then we headed out together. When we reached the door of the private room, Thomas asked me to go in first, and said he would follow shortly. Just as I was about to knock, I overheard someone mention my name inside. I've heard, Chloe found herself a 60-year-old man abroad. What good does it do her now? She got that life by using her body. With that model figure of hers, what man wouldn't be confused? If I had a body like hers, I'd go for a rich guy too. William, I heard you've met her man? William's voice was cold and emotionless. I haven't met him. Well, the rumors must be true then. Luckily, you broke up with her early. A woman like that is no good. Who says not? Emily's definitely the one who'll know how to please, right? William seemed to chuckle. Life can't be too dull. I had never seen this side of William. He had always been sensible and knew how to keep things in check. But now, driven by his own selfish desires, he was willing to speak without conscience. The person I once knew was completely gone, and it made me shudder. When I pushed the door open, everyone stopped talking and looked at me. I walked straight up to William and slapped him across the face. The lively room suddenly fell into an eerie silence. William, with a composed face, stared at me without saying a word. One of his friends spoke first. Are you crazy? I looked at William and said, when you broke up with me and badmouthed me outside, I didn't hold it against you because I didn't know the truth. But now that you know everything, you still join them in throwing dirt on my name. William, you really make me look down on you. Several of his good friends couldn't stay quiet. What are you talking about? He's just telling the truth. Why are you getting so worked up? I held my temper and said, I want to ask, which part of what he said was the truth? Was it when he dumped me the night before and married someone else the next day? Or was it when he brought his old ring to taunt me and my fiancé a few days ago? Everyone exchanged glances. Maybe William's fake persona had been so successful over the years that some people were still defending him. I know you can't let go of William, but didn't you cheat first? Exactly, you're regretting it, but don't destroy other people's families. No matter what they said, I didn't flinch, keeping my gaze fixed on William. The atmosphere in the room grew increasingly strange. Someone tugged at my sleeve, signaling me to let it go. Finally, William spoke, the first words he said after I walked in. Stop dwelling on the past. I pondered his words and suddenly burst out laughing. William's gaze deepened slightly. We've all gathered here today. Don't ruin the mood. Years ago, I introduced William to my parents. His flawless performance made me feel proud in front of them. But after he left, my parents solemnly told me, Sweetheart, his thoughts are too complicated. If you two don't get married, he knows exactly how to stab you in the back. At that time, I was completely absorbed in William, ignoring their warnings. I even comforted them, telling them that no matter what, William would never hurt me. Now, looking back at that moment, it felt unbearably ironic. As I stared at the two-faced man in front of me, about to speak, a figure rushed toward me. You slut, I knew you couldn't let go of William. After all these years, how can you still cling to someone else's husband? Is your old man not satisfying enough for you? Emily lunged at me so quickly I couldn't avoid her. Just as she was about to crash into me, a strong hand pulled me into an embrace. Emily stopped in front of me, giving the man behind me a sharp look. Who's this man of Chloe's? She's not married, so of course, she can find a man anywhere. The man she was talking about was now anxiously checking if I was hurt. I held his hand, turning to look at Emily. Emily, I said, my tone sharp, if you're going to make a scene, at least know the occasion. This is a class reunion, please don't cause trouble. Emily's face changed slightly as she looked at William. When she saw he wasn't going to ask her to leave, she immediately smiled again. But this is my husband's gathering, what should we do? If you don't like it, you can leave. Frida's voice rang out just in time. Yeah, this is William's gathering. We all agreed not to bring anyone halfway, so why is it okay for you? Are you showing off your love in front of us? Frida's words made several of Emily's old classmates who didn't like her chime in. Seeing the situation turning against William, Emily hurriedly explained, I didn't mean that. She tried to explain but stuttered in her panic. Finally, she looked toward William for help. But William's expression was now as dark as could be. He stared at her coldly and reprimanded her in a low voice, don't you think this is embarrassing enough? A minute ago, Emily had been happy that William hadn't kicked her out. Now, she was like a fish thrown into ice water. She bit her lip, on the verge of tears. William. William looked at her coldly. The thoughtful and caring person from before was completely gone. Emily bit her lip, her voice trembling with tears, I'll just sit here quietly, not doing anything. Please don't make me leave. Frida was the first to object. Since no one else brought their partner, no one should get special treatment. Am I right? And Miss Emily, this rule was specifically set by your dear husband for you. Emily glared at Frida with venom in her eyes, but couldn't argue back. At that moment, a clear voice cut through the tension. How about this, I'll treat everyone. Please bring your partners and let's go relax on the top floor of the Golden Palace. It seemed like everyone only just noticed Thomas, and they all turned their attention to him. Who is this guy? Chloe, who is he? I linked my arm with Thomas's and introduced him, my fiancé, Thomas. Everyone was stunned. I heard someone whisper, didn't she say she was with an older man? Could he be an actor Chloe hired to clear her name? Frida couldn't take it anymore. Come on, use your brains. Think carefully about where Chloe's rumors came from. After a brief silence, everyone turned to look at Emily. Emily looked from one person to the next, finally landing her gaze on William. But he didn't even spare her a glance. Frida smiled. She went all out spreading rumors about Chloe before. Why is she quiet now? The star of the show is right here. Go ahead, continue talking. We can confront each other directly. I always said it, one bed can't fit two people. What did Chloe ever do to deserve this reputation-ruining treatment from you two? Emily left in tears. As soon as she was gone, someone asked me, is this really your fiancé? I smiled and nodded. The person said enviously, we've all been misled by Emily. A girl as good as you deserves someone better. As she spoke, she unconsciously glanced at William. Some people, after cheating themselves, want others to take the blame. William sat expressionlessly on the couch, and no one knew what he was thinking. It was his friends, however, who couldn't sit still. Where did you find this actress? Talking big about going to the glittering top floor, do you even know what kind of people can go there? I heard the rooms on the top floor are reserved and not open to the public. Maybe your fiancé can figure out a way to get us a tour. The men burst into laughter at that. Next time, pick an actress with a broader knowledge base, so you don't end up embarrassing yourself like this. Meanwhile, William looked at Thomas, but quickly shifted his gaze away. Frida couldn't take it anymore and walked over to me. Let's go. If they want to stay, let them. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity. As she moved, several other girls followed. William, who had remained silent up to that point, suddenly spoke. Chloe, there's no need to make a small issue into something irreversible. If you really want to go, I can make a call. After returning to the country, not much happened, but enough to make me see William in a new light. I distantly refused his offer and left with a few of the girls. Perhaps expecting to see a spectacle, William and his friends followed us. Including William. When we arrived at the luxurious venue, he seized the opportunity when Thomas wasn't around and approached me. You've changed. You never used to care about these superficial things. I knew what he meant. In the past, when he was busy with social engagements, I understood and never wanted to distract him. I never made demands on him, let alone asked him to use his connections to satisfy my little vanity. He glanced at Thomas, who was on the phone nearby, and said, "Chloe, he's not right for you." I couldn't help but interrupt him. "Whether or not he's right for me, I already know. There's no need for you to worry." William frowned slightly. "What do you hope to gain by holding a grudge against me? Maybe you should think more about how to cover up his lie, so you don't end up losing face in front of your classmates." William's friends had all said that after I left him, I'd never find someone better. So, he was sure Thomas was inferior to him. After all, in his eyes, how could a young, successful man like Thomas be interested in someone as dull and unremarkable as me? In the face of his doubt, I just smiled silently. No one knew Thomas's capabilities better than I did. Moreover, the luxurious venue was part of Thomas's family business. If he wanted something, all he had to do was say the word. Thomas had been on the phone for a while, and when he returned, his expression wasn't great. William gave him a glance and said lightly, "The top floor needs a reservation. Let me make a call and check." He moved aside to make the call. I asked Thomas if he had run into any trouble. He explained it was a work issue. While we were talking, William returned. There was a fleeting glint of something dark in his eyes as he looked at Thomas. "Let's change the venue. The top floor is already reserved." But Thomas replied, "No need. Everything is ready upstairs. Let's go up." William blocked him. "Don't bring Chloe. She can't handle the embarrassment you're about to cause." Saying this, he reached to grab me. Just as his hand was about to touch me, Thomas pulled me into his arms. The atmosphere between the two men immediately became tense. This scene caught the attention of our classmates. William's friends, upon learning what had happened, began mocking Thomas. "I told you, how could a powerless person like him possibly get to the top floor? Only you guys believed it. Well, this is embarrassing. Don't you know the manager here? Why not call and see if he can give him access to the top floor? Hey, isn't that the manager? It's gotta be William." The manager hurried over but bypassed William and stopped in front of Thomas. "Hey, William is here too." However, the manager ignored him completely, bowing respectfully to Thomas. "Sorry to have kept you waiting. I'll take you up now." Thomas nodded slightly, "Thank you." William's friends thought the manager had made a mistake and pointed at William. "This is the person who called you earlier about the top floor, you've got it wrong." The manager finally looked at him, frowned, and said, "Oh, Mr. William, I see. Are you also here for the party?" William nodded. His friend added, "He called you earlier about the top floor." The manager replied, "Oh, the top floor has already been reserved by the young master. If you want it, you'll have to wait until tomorrow." With that, the manager turned back to Thomas. "Everything is ready, let me take you up." Young master? Could it be? The way everyone looked at Thomas changed multiple times. And then, all of them fell silent at once. Clearly, neither William nor his friends had realized that Thomas was a member of the most powerful family in the city. After all, he had been abroad for years, and very few people knew who he was. That night, William and his friends awkwardly stayed until the end of the party. Meanwhile, Frida and the others had a blast, joking about them all night. Thanks to them, William's actions spread quickly, and his reputation within the circle took a nosedive. Of course, that's another story. After the reunion, Thomas took over his family's business. Though he was incredibly busy, he still found time to send me messages and prepare little surprises. If I hadn't gone to his office that day without letting him know, I might have never known he had fought with William. When I arrived, he tried to hide. But there was nowhere to hide, so he finally told me the truth. William had asked to meet him, and they started fighting without saying a word. I silently applied ointment to his wounds. "Are you angry?" Thomas asked. "Of course not," I replied, but I unintentionally pressed harder. Thomas sucked in a breath. He pulled me into his arms and explained, "This is how men solve problems. He won't bother you again." "Thomas," I called, "for me, he's already a thing of the past. Don't waste any more time on him." He smiled. What should I do then? He's still thinking about you. I laughed in exasperation. He's him, and you can't control his mind, can you? Thomas smiled with his eyes. Not angry anymore? He's not that great. I made sure to hit where it wouldn't be seen. I poked at the bruise on his cheek. So you made sure he hit somewhere visible? Thomas didn't deny it. That way, you'll feel bad for me. He said softly, I have a business trip tomorrow. Will you come with me? I shook my head. Thomas thought I was angry and tried everything to cheer me up. I sighed and finally agreed. What I didn't expect was that during the business trip, I would run into William. And even more unexpectedly, Emily was there too. The hotel had a hot spring, and I heard Emily's voice while I was soaking in it. She was talking to a friend. That bitch Chloe just won't leave me alone. She thinks that by finding some good-looking guy, she can break me and William up. She should remember how I got William in the first place. She probably doesn't know that all the money she couldn't bear to spend ended up in my pocket. William says she's boring and dull, but that's not true, she's just stupid. Her friend said, you really know how to handle William. Emily replied, don't remind me. Now that she's back, I have to be extra careful, or I'll lose my position. If she hadn't come back suddenly, I wouldn't have had to work so hard to tie William down and follow him here. In these critical moments, a woman has to cry, throw a tantrum, and even threaten to kill herself. That was when I realized just how worthless I must seem in William's eyes. The things he said to me were never entirely true. But if he looked down on me so much, why did he keep coming back to find me after I returned to the country? When I returned home from my business trip, I pulled a box out from the corner of my study. Inside the box were all the memories from my time with William. They had been sealed away here since I went abroad. If I hadn't overheard Emily's conversation, I might never have opened it again. I took out an old phone and a few memory cards, then threw the rest of the items away. The memory cards were intact, and the phone still worked after being charged. I transferred everything from the memory cards, then dialed a number. The next morning, I was woken up by noise. William's family had come over. They were causing a ruckus in the living room, demanding an explanation. By the time I was downstairs, William's parents grabbed my hands. Chloe, don't bother with him anymore. Please? Yeah. You two were together for a while, how can you ruin his future like this? Just delete the videos online. I suddenly pulled my hand away and walked over to my parents. Did William send you here? Tell him I just want to seek justice for myself in my own way. I don't have any other intentions. William's parents seemed caught off guard by my directness, and for a moment, they were speechless. I spoke slowly, William cheated first, then slandered me, and now he's using a lame excuse to hurt my fiancé. Before I could finish, my mom suddenly stood up. What? Thomas got hurt? Where? Is it serious? My dad slammed his hand on the table. You hit someone and still have the nerve to accuse others? This is too much. Bodyguard, get these two out of here. William's parents realized too late that things weren't going their way. As they were being escorted out, they begged me to delete the videos and chat logs. I hadn't known about those chat logs and videos before. It was Emily who told me. She said I was stupid for trusting William so much that I never checked the surveillance footage. If I had just clicked on a certain day's footage, I would have seen her and William secretly meeting. She also said that the old phone was the one William used to flirt with her, but William had told me it was his work phone. He would never know that the person he carefully chose as his lover would leave him such a huge vulnerability. My mom, who always doted on Thomas, was furious after kicking them out. Your son's so capable, why didn't you let him handle this? Why did you have to come begging us? After William quickly married Emily, I went through a rough patch. My parents did go to ask William's family to send him to see me. But what did they say? William is so outstanding, there are plenty of women around him. If he had to deal with every situation like this after every breakup, would he have time for work? Your daughter was only with my son for 2 years. She's gotten plenty of benefits from him during that time. Anyway, your daughter's so beautiful, it wouldn't be hard to find her another rich man. Now, the tables had turned, and I couldn't help but feel that my parents finally had their moment of pride. Afterwards, they didn't blame me. In fact, they praised me. You did the right thing. We support you. If we had known you were holding on to those things, we wouldn't have waited until now for him to get his comeuppance. By the way, is William bothering you again? I shook my head. But 2 days later, William came knocking. The leaks I provided to the reporter occupied all the top headlines. For several days, the heat didn't die down. Frida told me that William had been working overtime to manage the scandal, and had even lost a few big projects. And Thomas told me he had signed several major contracts recently. When Frida mentioned William's situation, she couldn't help but sigh. Who would have thought William was like this? Luckily, you cut your losses in time, or you'd be the one getting dragged down. Emily caused a big scene a while ago, and now that William's in trouble, she's the first one to keep quiet. I quietly listened, and my mind wandered back to those exposed videos. Before William broke up with me, he brought Emily back to our home. They passionately kissed on the sofa I had carefully picked out, living like a couple in my house while I wasn't there. When he stayed up all night working in the study, he was actually on the phone with her all night long. And I never suspected him. That night, I was busy in the studio until late. When I came downstairs, I saw William leaning against his car by the roadside, cigarette butts scattered at his feet. When he saw me, he walked toward me. As he got closer, I realized Frida had only been partially accurate in her description of him. William now looked completely disheveled. His usually neat suit had wrinkles, his hair was messy. The dark circles under his eyes were heavy, clearly showing he hadn't had proper rest for a long time. Can we talk? He said. No, my fiancé's waiting for me. William pinched the bridge of his nose. You're the one who leaked those videos and chat logs, right? Do you really have to be so heartless? I distanced myself from him coldly. There's no such thing as heartless. I just want to seek justice for myself. William's face darkened. Do you know those things you released could destroy me? I met his gaze calmly. I know. I thought you were different from other women, but I never expected you to be even more vicious. I was wrong to you in the past, but didn't you have any problems? Years had passed, and the first time we talked about breaking up was in this situation. He still seemed to believe he had done nothing wrong. The problem was with me. I'm boring. I shouldn't have exposed the evidence of his infidelity and ruined his future. But where did I go wrong? I'm a man, and you were indifferent, making me feel useless and invisible. Do you understand? I don't, I said. If you don't like me anymore, you could have just told me. Instead, you chose to hurt me. I didn't mean to, I interrupted him. You just wanted to seek excitement. You married her the day after we broke up and told everyone I cheated, right? William, we're both adults now. Let's stop pretending. After this, we owe each other nothing. Footsteps approached from not far away. It was Emily. She wanted to get closer, but seeing William there, she hesitated. William noticed her too, his brow furrowing even more tightly. What are you still following me for? Emily paused, her voice cracking as she replied, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to. She suddenly turned to face me. It's you, right? You heard me that day, didn't you? How can you be so cruel? Do you have to ruin William's life before you're satisfied? Seeing the crazy, twisted look on her face, I didn't hesitate to turn away. On the side of the road, Thomas rounded the back of the car and pulled me inside. With a hint of jealousy in his voice, he said, if I hadn't come back today, would you have spent the whole night talking to him? I nodded, maybe, but not necessarily. Thomas's face darkened. That night, he didn't let me return home. The whole night, he had me try positions that were far beyond my limits, and I couldn't keep up. Once the wedding date was set, Thomas and I became busier and busier. Both of our parents were very happy with the engagement. On the day of the wedding, Frida came to the makeup room to find me. I just saw William. I almost didn't recognize him. I'd heard a few things about William from Thomas, but he didn't allow me to ask too many questions. All I knew was that things weren't going well for him. His company was on the brink of bankruptcy. You know Emily, right? William is suing her for divorce. Her family refuses to let go of William. They're holding something over him and threatening to keep him from divorcing her. But everyone knew the truth: whether or not they divorced, William would never return to his former glory. With someone as unstable as Emily, who knew what kind of chaos she'd stir up next? But none of this mattered to me anymore. I took my father's arm and slowly walked towards the man standing in the center of the stage. His gaze was as solid as the strongest vow, and his eyes were locked on me. It was as if he was telling me that some things between people are simply different. The end.